She picked you. Out of all the options, all the guys, it was you. And that's pretty amazing, isn't it? It's one of the most powerful feelings a man can experience: validation, desire, victory. But I want to ask you a question, and I need you to be brutally honest with yourself for a minute. Did she pick you? Or the idea of you? Have you ever felt, even for just a second, like you're playing a part? Like if you deviated even an inch from the script? If you showed your real doubts, your weird passions, your weakness, the whole house of cards would come crashing down? Have you ever felt like an actor who finally landed the lead role, but lives with the constant fear of being exposed as a fraud? If any of that resonates deep down in a quiet place inside you, then this is the most important conversation we're going to have. Because today, we're not talking about relationships. We're talking about your soul. We're talking about the danger of being a woman's dream man and the price you pay for living in that fantasy. In this video, we're going to figure out if you're truly being loved or if you're just hosting a ghost. And more importantly, how to find your way back to yourself. The danger of being the perfect man. At first, being put on a pedestal is pretty seductive. She admires your ambition, your strength, your sensitivity. It feels like she sees the best in you. But pay close attention, because there's a thin line between being admired and being sculpted. Genuine admiration sees all of you, flaws and all. Projection, on the other hand, only sees the potential. She doesn't love the raw marble block that you are. She loves the statue she believes she can carve out of you. And you, wanting to keep that admiration, start carving yourself. You smooth out an edge here, hide a crack there. You become such a good actor playing the role of the ideal man that you risk forgetting who you were before the script was even handed to you. You're no longer a man. You're a blank canvas for someone else's fantasy. The shadow of external validation. Let's be real. We, men, are hungry for validation. We're taught from a young age to measure our worth by external achievements. The job, the money, success with women. And when a woman offers us a map, a clear path to being the guy, it's tempting to follow. It's a shortcut. Instead of the hard, lonely work of building your own identity, your own integrity, you can just adopt the identity she offers. It's a Faustian bargain. You trade your authentic soul for the security of being desired. The problem is, validation that comes from conforming to a fantasy is like drinking salt water. The more you drink, the thirstier you get. It never truly fills you up because deep down, you know it's not you that's being validated. It's the mask you're wearing. Carl Jung and the animus projection. This isn't just some poetic idea. The Swiss psychologist Carl Jung, one of the greatest explorers of the human psyche, identified this phenomenon. He called it the projection of the animus. The animus is the internal image of the masculine that every woman carries within her. It's a mosaic built from her father, male figures in her life, culture, and even her own undeveloped masculine qualities. When a woman isn't conscious of her own animus, she projects it onto the external world. She looks for a man who can carry that image for her. She's not looking for a partner, but for a vessel for her own unresolved psychological needs. She's not being malicious. Most of the time, she doesn't even know she's doing it. But the effect on the man who accepts this projection is devastating. Self-betrayal, the cost of living a fantasy. And here we get to the heart of the problem. Self-betrayal. Every time you bite your tongue to agree with her, every time you ditch a hobby because she thinks it's a waste of time, every time you swallow your true emotions to keep the peace, you're betraying yourself. It's not a single, dramatic event. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts. It's the slow poisoning of your soul. You look in the mirror and you see the reflection of a stranger. A successful man, maybe. A good boyfriend, for sure. But a hollow man. Empty. Because the person you were meant to be, your true self, has been left to starve in a dark basement of your psyche, while the actor you created lives on stage, under the spotlight of her love. And that's the loneliest victory a man can ever achieve. Warning signs. Are you a man or an echo? The first step toward freedom is diagnosis. It's about looking at your life with brutal honesty. Answer these questions, not for me, but for yourself, in the quiet of your mind. Do you constantly find yourself anticipating her reactions before making any decision, no matter how small, from the clothes you wear to your weekend plans? When you're with your childhood friends, the ones who knew you before her, do you feel like you need to change the channel? Do you become a different version of yourself? Perhaps an older, looser version that you quickly hide when she's around? Think about your hobbies, your passions, those things that made you lose track of time before the relationship. Where are they now? Were they improved to fit into life as a couple, or were they quietly put on a shelf to gather dust? When you disagree, is your main goal to reach a mutual solution, or is it simply to appease, to avoid conflict at all costs, even if it means swallowing what you really think? And the most revealing question of all, are you afraid to be alone with your own thoughts? Because maybe, in that silence, the man you abandoned starts to scream. And that's a terrifying sound for someone who's grown accustomed to the artificial peace of conformity. If you answered yes to several of these questions, you're not in a relationship. You're in a performance. And your ticket to that performance was a piece of your soul, the inner void, the hunger to be truly seen. This constant performance creates a specific kind of exhaustion. It's not the physical fatigue from a hard day's work. It's an exhaustion of the soul. It's the weight of upholding a mask, of calculating every word, every action. And beneath that exhaustion, there's a void, an uncomfortable feeling that something is fundamentally wrong, even when everything looks perfect on the outside. This is your soul's hunger to be seen, truly seen. I ask you, when was the last time you felt genuinely, unconditionally seen? Not admired, not praised, but simply seen and accepted? When was the last time you shared a fear that seemed irrational, or a dream that seemed impossible without feeling like you had to justify or defend it? This emptiness you feel isn't a sign that you're weak or broken. Quite the opposite. It's the healthiest part of you making itself known. It's your true self, your authentic core, refusing to die. It's an internal fire alarm, warning you that the house you build is on fire, even if the exterior looks impeccable. Ignoring that alarm is the greatest act of self-betrayal there is. The question is, do you have the courage to listen? The path of individuation, forging your own soul. So, what's the way out? The answer, again from Jung, lies in a process called individuation. Forget the image of the alpha male or the lone wolf. That's just another fantasy, another mask. Individuation isn't about becoming tough, isolated, or selfish. It's about becoming whole. It's the journey of integrating all parts of yourself, your light and your shadow, your strength and your vulnerability, your ambition and your doubts. An individuated man doesn't seek external validation because he generates it internally. He doesn't need a woman to choose him to feel valuable because he chose himself first. His self-worth isn't a sandcastle dependent on the tide of others' approval. It's a fortress built on the rock of self-knowledge. This path isn't easy. It requires you to look at the parts of yourself you'd rather ignore. It requires you to question beliefs that have given you comfort. Above all, it requires immense courage. The courage to, perhaps, disappoint others, so you don't have to keep disappointing yourself. It's the journey of becoming the author of your own life, instead of just a character in someone else's story. The necessary confrontation. Breaking the mirror with courage and care. What does this journey look like in practice? It begins with small acts of authentic rebellion. It's not about blowing up your life, but rebuilding it, brick by brick. Start by reclaiming a small territory that was yours, a hobby, an hour a week to read about something that only interests you, a night out with that friend she thinks is immature. Do this not as a challenge to her, but as an offering to yourself. Pay attention to how it feels. You'll feel fear, yes, but underneath the fear, you'll feel a flicker of life, of vitality. Follow that feeling. The next step is your voice. Start expressing differing opinions, calmly and respectfully. I see your point, but I think a little differently about this. This simple sentence is a revolutionary act for a man who has lived as an echo. You're not attacking, you're defining yourself. You're showing her and yourself that you are a separate entity with your own inner world. This confrontation isn't with her, it's with the fantasy. And you need to be prepared for the reaction. The fantasy will fight to survive. There might be confusion, anger, sadness. She might accuse you of not being the man she fell in love with. And the honest answer to that, the most terrifying and liberating answer, is, you're right, I'm not. The payoff, true intimacy and self, respect. So, what's on the other side of this fear? What's beyond the potential loss? Two things, self, respect, and the chance for real intimacy. The self-respect that comes from being true to yourself is unshakable. It's a peace that permeates everything. It's the feeling of being at home in your own body, in your own mind. No external praise can compare to that. And intimacy? If the relationship survives this transition, it will transform into something infinitely more real and rewarding. A partnership between two whole individuals who chose each other with their eyes wide open, seeing both the light and the shadow. And if the relationship doesn't survive, it will hurt, yes. But it will be a clean pain, a necessary loss that creates space for you to one day be loved for who you truly are. Ultimately, the choice is this. Do you prefer to be loved for a mask you wear, or risk being rejected for the face that is yours? The journey of individuation is the journey to answer that question with integrity. It's the most important journey a man can make. So, what are our key takeaways from all of this? We look directly at the seductive danger of being the chosen one, of becoming the lead actor in someone else's fantasio process, that the visionary psychologist Carl Jung identified as the projection of the animus. We saw that the applause you get for this performance comes at a steep price, self-betrayal, which erodes your soul and leaves you feeling empty, no matter how perfect your life may seem on the outside. But we didn't stop at the problem. We illuminated a path to the solution, the journey of individuation. This isn't a path of selfishness, but of integration. It's the process of becoming a whole man, not a perfect man. It's the noblest and toughest work you can do for yourself. All this exploration of the psyche isn't abstract theory. Carl Jung himself, in an effort to bring these crucial ideas beyond academic circles, detailed this journey in his final book, Man and His Symbols. If this conversation sparked something in you, consider that book as the next step on your own map. The question that opened our dialogue was, are you loved for who you are, or for an idea of who you're supposed to be? But the conclusion leads us to an even deeper question. Have you chosen yourself yet? Have you had the courage to embrace your own authenticity with all the light and shadow it contains? Because, in the end, the responsibility is yours. The responsibility to show up to the world and to any relationship, not as a project to be molded, but as a man who is already whole, even if still under construction. The ultimate goal isn't to find the partner who will validate you. It's to become a man who validates himself. That's the foundation of true self-respect, and the only basis upon which genuine intimacy can be built. If this conversation resonated with you, if it lit a spark in a place you thought was dark, then subscribing to the channel is the best way to ensure we'll have more honest, deep conversations like this. Join us. And I want to hear from you. Head down to the comment section and share a thought. Maybe a moment when you felt like the actor. Maybe a small step you're going to take toward your own authenticity. Even if it's just to write, "This made sense to me." Your voice and your story are important in this community. Lastly, if there's a man in your life, a friend, a brother, a son who you think needs to hear this message, share this video. You won't just be sending a link. You might be offering him a map and a key he didn't even know he was looking for. Thanks for your courage and for your time.